Andrew Makawele, if he or she's here, please come and take your seat. Online teaching science-based programs. Then there's Kalima, Stalin, Omundila, I don't know who's presenting. I also saw Chilima. Chilima, are you here? I saw you here. Okay. I've seen Stalin as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is section 3B, ICT in open and distance education, just in case you are lost. This is section 3B, this is where we are, and all the presenters come and occupy the front seat. The guys in technology may want to come and help us to switch on the screen behind. Yes, I'm still looking for the presenters come in front, the presenters for present staffing approaches in open and distance learning in the dual model. Is it Sally coming present or please take care, Francis. You're welcome. I'm also looking for presenters for innovations in education technology, where there's Natalia Zulu, Betty Weupe, and Liston. Please, if you are around, come and take the front seat. Oh, please. Yeah. So presenters, since I don't have your bios, I should have introduced you by bios. I don't have your bios. Take a bit of time to introduce yourselves as you come to speak. Professor Billy, you'll be the first one to come and just take the presentation, introduce yourself, tell us a bit more about yourself. Let's feel motivated, we want to hear more about you. So take 1-2 minutes of your time to tell us what you're doing in your academia, public service, if you can, then you can make your presentation. I know we are co-presenting, but since I'm chairing, I'll just be cheering from the background. Thank you so much. So Professor Piri, take the stage for us. Let's give him a hand, please. A hand, that's not a hand. Let's give him a hand.
Good afternoon, or is it morning? Good morning. Jackson Bill is my name, as indicated and as introduced. I forgot to say, all the presenters will present within 10 minutes. And we'll be strict with time, 10 minutes, so cite your presentation, 10 minutes presentation, 5 minutes for question and answers, and the end observations to make. So cite your mind present within 10 minutes. Thank you so much. Okay, since it's 10 minutes, I want to see if I can play a video in the background while I'm talking for 2 minutes, and then so that I can multitask. And then I'll pick it up with my presentation. So, this was about 2014 or so. Okay, so Jackson Bill is my name, like I said. My background is computer science, bachelor's, master's, and PhD, computer science. Current associate professor in the area. In terms of station, or where I am computer science department, but also IDE. I was recently incorporated there specifically to help out with e-campus. So basically, I think that's why so my presentation will be in that context, the e-learning component, but it's the major IT and education where we are trying to blend and see if we could help out. What I'm showing you now on the screen is a bicycle that was made by Google in 2013-2014. Self-driven bicycle. No interference with the human being, no. It just takes the boy to school, comes back, and it can take you forward. You can wait while you're sitting there. That was in 2013-2014. This was in Netherlands. Since then, technology, I think, has developed. The angle story, I think, here you could request that bike using the app that was available. Apart from this, the number of technologies that are available on the market, like self-driven cars, the lab activity transforms itself, and quite a lot of robotics. In the meantime, we have these robots that are being created and a few other things, quite a lot of changes that are taking place. Our presentation was supposed to speak to what is known as Industry 4.0. Those that we met yesterday, I think we had a partial discussion on this one. So the first part is, what is this thing called Industry 4.0? So the first part, my discussion, I think I'll just have 3 points. I'll discuss, let's introduce this. Then I bring you to the solution called Education 4.0. And then I'll put in some parameters and then we can proceed from there. So Industry 4.0, Education 4.0, that's the take-home messages. So if you are not teaching based on the parameters, or if your curriculum doesn't speak to Education 4.0, then you are already moving in the opposite direction, to the direction which technology is taking us to. So what would be Education 4.0? So let's start our discussion. You can go to the site under the United Nations Industry Development Organization. These guys, they control the industry and the manufacturing and what is happening on the ground. So, if you want to know the latest in terms of trends, the UN is in charge. They will tell governments and advise government in terms of the direction. So that's the starting point. So if you want to manufacture a degree, it must speak to what these guys are talking about. And what I've shown you is the website. You find it direct on their site. The first thing that you meet there is the same, Industry 4.0. It's actually this site that I clicked. I just took the whole screenshot from the site. And what they've put there, they've just indicated the new digital era. Industry 4.0. The parameters there, you can't read them. I'll put the site for you. There on the bottom for you to pick it up, and then you can check what is on their site. So what we need to establish first of all is what is this Industry 4.0. Then we can look at we can speak to it as educationists. Industry 4.0 is going to change everything. Public sector, education, health, media, pharmacy, logistics, doesn't matter the sector, it will change it. And I think we just need to get ready for that one. So the solution from us, from the education sector, for this Industry 4.0 is Education 4.0. And it comes with 3 parameters that we need to focus on as we deliver from that context. So when you want to build up a curriculum, or want to deliver content, it must speak to the changing job market. And if you want to know what the job market looks like, the Industry 4.0 approach, we have details there. What it means also is that all of us, unless otherwise we still have to go back to school. So it's reskilling. More often than not, maybe on a yearly basis, you have to come across online to just upgrade you. If you don't do that, again, you could be 2-3 years down the line, you find yourself on the other side, while the world is on this other side. The education infrastructure and environment, it will start evolving just like in other sectors. So, commercial courses online and the further parameters are very key for us. There, I've just put in the stages for the so-called Industry 4.0. So, where is the 4 coming from? So, there are those stages there. The first one. So the first one just looks at when the steam engine came in here. From working in the farm with the oil and everything, then the steam engine was developed. We have a tractor, we can drill for water and the rest of the things. All the slaves that went to America off the farm. A car is born, a train is born, people go into the manufacturing industry. Most of our parents, they came to the town, to the city, because they were working to this industry. We cross over, the computer is born, IT. By 2010, coming this other side, we went into the AI, infrastructure and the rest of the things in terms of automation. Now, 80% of your money is spent on digital. The Airtel money, you don't got cash, no. You don't even go to the bank. Those things, they are gone, they're not coming back. Even the education now, most of it is getting transformed slowly, where we are they will transform. I've put in 2 documents there. You can go to that organization, World Economic Forum, and that industry thing that I showed you. They've done their research, and the report there on top, the first one, they're telling you about 10 technologies that are going to change the world, at least in the next 5 years. One of them, like I said yesterday, is a battery. A battery that you can't charge for 10 years. So what it means that you can work with your phone and do the rest of the things that the phone is. The other space is the metaverse, the cyberspace. Church on the internet on Facebook, church in the real space. Friends on the internet on Facebook, your friends in there. So that metaverse with the AFA, the few other parameters, and the education will thrive there. I think so. The last document, just get the title, you can Google that one. They've done that report to show you the jobs that are going to shrink. Actually, they are going by in the next 3 years, up to 2027, those that are going to completely disappear. So you might be producing students, no work for them. They're the ones that start troubling us, the government. So this report, just get the title, you get it from World Economic Forum. Their jobs, they've profiled them. Others, they'll just shrink by maybe 80%. Then there will be new ones again that are going to come on the space. The question is which ones? That's where the curriculum is supposed to point. I think basically for the introduction of Industry 4.0, that's this one. The other part are these organizations that do statistics in the digital space, just to show what is happening there, the further parameters. So I have 2 slides that I want you to look at. The current population is at 8.1 billion, 5.6 you have mobile devices, smartphones. These are our clients. For OTL, this is where you get from this 5.6. It doesn't matter where they are, as long as your program is online, somebody from Malaysia will apply and they'll be on your program. So that's your market space. And 5.4, they are using the internet. About 5 million, they're just on social media. So every time we talk about OTL and especially e-learning, that's what the space looks like, and that's your market space. And we are competing with MIT and Cambridge here. So it depends on your quality and what you're going to put across. If it's mediocre, you will not get the students, or it is to have them for a short period of time and they'll cross over. And our friends are dealing with numbers. You saw what the annual story came in. These to my vehicles. All these guys, who were doing the automatic, the car where you pay, as they were kicked out by one organization because of the issue to do with technology and numbers. They had access to the satellite, and the price was cheaper, so they just dropped the price, and the other company just folded quickly. So they invested to 40, actually invested to 40. In the next 2 to 3 years, those will not be able to compete and invest in this space. So, internet users for us in SADC, only 1% for the contribution from the world. More than 40% are in Asia. They are the ones who are on the internet. The age band, 16 to 24 years, 52% of them are studying using the internet. For 25 to 34 years, we have 38 who are studying. 35 to 44, no one. At least in terms of education, that those, I think they've graduated, it's not an issue. So it's 45 to 54, 55 to 64. These, unless just learning how to do things, because they've crossed over that boundary. Just how to survive and how to get around to do certain things. That's where they are. So you can check that most of us are about 35. There are very few of us who are serious in terms of education online. So where is your market? Those 2 parts that are there, that's where we need to focus on. So I think that's it on this one. I'm concluding now on the Industry 4.0. Those are the technologies there. AI, machine learning, robotics, especially I think most of them talked about those. The solution for this is Education 4.0, like I said. So the focus is on those 4 points that are there. We focus on skills, technology integration, make sure you blend in terms of learning. Even now, the mainstream teaching and the rest, blending is key. Then project-based kind of learning, you have to give something that challenges the students that they can work on. In terms of the actual technologies that are going to drive this process, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality. Most of us in Zambia, we don't have infrastructure for this. AI itself, unless to my tools, but in terms of infrastructure, nothing. You use games to teach. I'm one of the advocates actually to see if we can release the phone to the pupils. You can control it in class, but you integrate that into the teaching, not completely out. You confiscate phones from the students. Why? Why are you having a phone? So I'm hoping that actually we can do it. There are a lot of tools that can help to just start stimulating them to keep them going there. So blockchain, 5G, Internet of Things, and these others, we can explain them in detail, but we don't have time now. Robotics, we don't even have where we can do robotics here, but that will be a key issue in terms of learning, because we can do a lot of automation. The last part of my presentation is now the topic for today, which is paradigm shift, personalized education, that is one. Lifelong learning, I said we need to go to school more often. Collaborative, we need to interact with machines. The robots are coming. The only part where I can see this is like right now is the medical field in the hospitals. Those guys, they work with machines to operate on you and do the rest of the things. The others is part of the industry, packaging and processing. Those guys, they work with these robots. No one is drinking a pot one by one, no. Those are automated, so there's robotics, but this will provide a day. But we need our students to have access to that. AI, ChatGPT and the rest, Internet of Things. There are other areas like green technology, where we need to have what we call eco-friendly campuses, plant trees and a few others, so that the environment is neat, clean, and a few others. Technical skills, I think this one is critical. Most of us,
yeah, we have a minute to conclude.
Okay, thank you. So technical skills, this one is key. How many of us as lecturers, for example, can apply a technical skill, maybe the same ChatGPT and AI, in order to deliver content to the students? Technical skills will be very critical where we're heading to, and also human skill, creativity and innovation. This we need to impact on our students, and also the so-called emotional intelligence. The other important part will be interdisciplinary. I told you I'm from IT, and now we are interfacing with the education. If you do it correctly, put your brain together, then this course, but not only there, engineers and the rest of the things, interdisciplinary is the way to go in the future. You won't work in a silo, and alone it won't work. Real world problem solving. Yesterday I was asking my friends, why are we failing to produce a copper wire? Our core business is copper, nothing else. That's where our revenue comes from. So why can't we produce a copper wire? From the primary school, the curriculum, they understand what it is. Then they can make those which we used to make when we were, and then smelt the copper. We used to smelt before 1800s. Produce the wire, which is even 50% pure. Use it to wind the motor. Use that motor to drive forward and do the rest of the things. Then you can build an education system around that, and then we're good to go. That's just one example. So, the real world problem solving. I think this one is a critical one. We have to find somebody to build our roads. Why?
So I'm biased. This is part of my presentation, but I'm scared to stop.
Okay.
You have an important point to deliver, the last one?
I think I'm done. The only part is just maybe in terms of the challenges where we have lack of education infrastructure, dealing with technology, because we just import that from the West most of the time. That think that's it for now.
We give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. This is a paradigm shift, isn't it? Things are changing. Whether we like it or not, the world is changing. It needed more time. Yes. Yeah. But you can ask questions so I can respond, isn't it? We can make comments, observation. How many of you want to make a question, observation, even a commendation is welcome. 5 minutes for that. We needed 3 hours, but we have given 10 minutes. Pick the most important. You have a question?
My question, I think I asked about this yesterday. I just want to know how we're going to incorporate the learning theories in this technology, especially when we're talking about artificial intelligence.
How to integrate learning theories in this innovation. Prof, you have taken up?
Yes.
Okay. Another hand? Okay.
Yes, I'm the director of Joy Mindset Academy. Prof, the skill is dynamic. You have touched a lot of things. We are running a project called Success ASAP Radio. It's a radio where you teach a child through the phone. I put the phone as an agent for my recording, and then you put a lesson wherever you are. You're not in class, but you use the AI. Prof, we need to sit down, because I was with the Ministry of Education yesterday, looking at the children, looking at the career search. When we were young, we never had career national concept. So Prof, we applaud you and we must invite you. You really have a touch for our souls. Technology will take us somewhere. Thank you so much for the presentation. God bless you.
Looks like that's a commendation. I didn't hear any question, but you can comment on it. Let me balance. Okay, you're being supported. That's gender there.
I think mine is just a recommendation. This information is very critical and vital. But now, are we going to have the slides shared? Because for me, if we just run through like this, we're just doing another academic exercise, and when we go, it's all forgotten. This is very key to the development of education system.
Another commendation, my experience that even when slides are shared, sometimes we don't use them. Did you know that? We just package them. Yeah. The last so Prof can respond. Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
You just introduce yourself.
Okay, Nina Hamako from Victor. I just wanted to comment on what you mentioned today and yesterday, was that a problem that we are finding at Victor, because we have projects where we are contributing by donating ICT devices to various learning institutions under various projects, including persons with disabilities. What we have found, which is a problem, is that the students and the pupils are very much ready to embrace the technology. But those who have been given the responsibility to teach them are not. So some of the computer labs we have donated have become monuments. Because when you visit the institution for your M&D, you find that it's so clean, you want to commend them for it being clean, only to find that they are not using it. And I'm not referring to our recent case where we have load shedding, because that definitely affects. And that's something we should also think of, technologies which you can use even when there is no powered electricity, maybe using alternatives. But I think what we would like to emphasize, seeing that we have institutions here, and lecturers and everyone, policy makers are here, is that let's deal with the people who are supposed to impart the knowledge, because the young ones are very much interested, but the people who are supposed to teach them are not. So you'll find that when we donate these devices, we go back, they are underutilized, and there are people out there who are crying for them, and they cost a lot of money, especially assistive devices for persons with disabilities. We've donated Braille printers, which are worth like $1 million, and you go back there and you find that it was last used maybe 6 months ago because they couldn't buy paper. Braille paper is not that expensive compared to the actual device that you have been given for free. And we even further service the devices because we've seen that these are unique things. So we have just found that the problem is with the people who are charged with the responsibility and not the learners. And if we don't get serious about it, the learners will find alternatives and they'll be sharper than the lecturers and the teachers.
Wow, we all agree, right? It's a problem. But to talk about capacity building, we shouldn't remain behind with fresher courses. Yeah. Prof, would you want to respond to this in the interest of time?
Sure. So let me start with the question on the theories in the education. How are we going to incorporate them? So IDE here at UNZA, they've introduced some new programs at postgraduate. One of them is a master's. Specifically, there is one program that they've introduced, instructional design masters, and the focus is purely technology. So I just picked up a set of slides because I teach in this course. So she was talking about theories, especially for the digital age vis-a-vis education. So there are all these theories, SMR, I don't know whether you've come across this, TPAC, and the rest of the things, Bloom, but reinvented now to look into the tech side of things, and all these theories. So reschooling. So again, we have to get back to school. I don't know whether we might need to do short courses or short programs, but there is a master's program through IDE, and it is under e-campus. No need of getting leave. So again, online, you come, you sit here, and you proceed. So all those issues that she was talking about those teachers who can't use that, they don't have the skill. You bring everything for me, and then you want me to, I have no idea about it. You are troubling me. You are troubling, even when it's useful. So those sponsor 10, bring them on this program. I can guarantee you, once they graduate here, you see the energy and the output, because you only perform with something that you are familiar with. And technology, if you don't know, you don't know. There's nothing that we can do. They'll just, and those machines will rot as long as you don't do anything. So there is a program specifically designed for teachers, but in the tech area, and proper, the science is solid, and you have competent people to just handle that space. So that's my response for this one. I don't know which other.
No, others were commendation. There was a commendation there and another commendation, and she needs the slides. She wants the slides to go and share. She wants the slides to go and share. No, okay. We'll share them resources and materials.
Okay, so just note, Prof.
Yes.
That actually we can share those. The conversation again can continue after this. It's a lot. Actually, I didn't even talk about what is augmented reality, and because the things that the big man was talking about those who are challenged in terms of disabilities. The solution is there, part of it. But the certain things, again, we need the likes of Gistered and the government to invest in the infrastructure. Without that, it becomes a talk show, the hot air, and we can't get anywhere. Thank you, Chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, that Mr. Piri, a hand for him, please. Some people don't clap, I don't know why. Okay, thank you so much. We transition into the next presentation, and the next presentation is on innovation in education technology that supports distance learning in the institution of higher education in Zambia. A systematic review of literature. Yeah, so please, Natalia, the one making the presentation, please. It's ICT and technology, so I want to hear more. I wish you had the presentation from Zika. That was going to be nice, right? I think they do a lot of miracles in Zika. We hear a lot of stories. Yeah. Yes. Maybe as you are trying to do that, can I invite someone else? Who wants to take up this chance among the presenters? We have an opportunity. Who wants to take up this chance? Okay, let me invite my friend, colleague. Again, we encourage you to introduce yourself so that people know a bit about who you are. So this presentation is making is on, let me go to it, presenting staffing approaches on open and distance learning, e-learning, in dual mode university, cost benefit analysis. Oh my God, I think we'll learn more about this. It's a wrong presentation, that's the right one. Yeah. So you have 10 minutes, then stick right down here.
Good morning, colleagues. I stand here on behalf of, I think we are 3 or 4 of us on this presentation. And I'm representing that team. They requested me to speak on behalf of the team. Now, allow me at this moment to abide by the protocols as set by the chairperson of this session, Professor Masaiti, that we need to introduce ourselves and, of course, just to get into the mode to speak to colleagues, mentors, and so on and so forth. I wish to recognize the presence of Professor Serchuena, one of the outstanding professionals in distance education. 20 years ago, when I became a member of staff in the University of Zambia, I found him in charge of distance education, and that's how I came to know that we had such a wing, and he mentored us through his presence. So, sir, you're welcome. It's also good to see Professor be representing that, because we've been colleagues back from school, and of course, I can see Dr. Mangu is here. You are also welcome, sir. And colleagues, the deputy DED from NIPA, you're welcome. Yes. I speak as a problem. I may sound to know so many people because I've been in higher education for almost 20 years now. And I served as the registrar for the University of Zambia for 5 years. Before then, I was also deputy registrar. And I'm teaching in the university. But most importantly, I must mention that I'm a child of distance education myself, having graduated from the University of South Africa, the biggest, I think, distance education institution, if not global, but at least we know in Africa, they've got over 400,000 students at distance. And in the time that I was learning with them, it was not fashionable then in Zambia for people to seize that opportunity. But of course, like I said, when I joined UNZA, I found that there was such kind of a thing. And so I jumped on it and I quickly went to UNZA, registered. And my journey was very, very enriching because even then, way back in the early 2000s, when I was studying with them, we were using a platform called Sekai. And Sekai, for those who've been close to distance education, you know that was one of the robust student systems in distance, where the portal kind of system came into existence. But also, the people that took us through that process were diverse from different institutions, not only from the University of South Africa. Having said that, I also want to speak to the fact that I have been in HR for most of my time. So the issue of staffing becomes very, it's so close to me. And I've been dealing with such approaches for a long time. Having been registered in the university, we saw reforms taking place in the way that we've been staffing the distance education component and the other components of the school, the other schools that we have. You have, for instance, GSP, where we started the dual mode, or let me say blended learning, full-time blended learning. We did it under the GSP, learning from what we had done at a distance and of course from the full-time side. So with the 10 minutes that I have, I'll take the pleasure really not to make a presentation that is that I have, but to speak to these facts. What approaches can we really do if we want to strictly run a robust distance education program? So we did, of course, trying to bring the background about it. But what we are saying is that universities, as you know them, they are really very costly institutions to run. More so if you do not have the distance aspect to them, okay? And when we speak about the cost, basically when you have academic staff in these universities, this is how the outlay looks like in terms of their workload. The teaching, the research, the administration, and of course the service. That's what academics do in distance education. And you agree with me that in terms of the workload that is given to them per week, it's also quite a lot. What they do is quite a lot. But then we have to find a way of how do we move around this kind of a workload that we give to our staff. More so that we also understand that the demographics do not really necessarily allow us to neglect a certain cohort of clients, those who wish to be in work employment and at the same time access education. Now, what I'm presenting there as a workload would be seemingly for somebody who is fully recruited or employed by a university. But if you are teaching at a distance, you may not necessarily be the one to be in full-time employment with the university. You could be on part-time engagement. That is also allowed in distance mode, and something that we need to think about. Okay, just to mention that there are also issues that become very paramount in the process that we consider when we are thinking of staffing for distance education. Okay? So on this workload, for instance, okay, the teaching load would range really over full-time faculty. Some people will be looking into giving people between 18 to 24 hours of teaching per week, depending in the specialization that you might be involved in. So that is also something to start thinking about. But also, most importantly, we need to recognize that these institutions are evolving over time. Okay? In the traditional setups, of course, we did engage, like I said, on the dual modes, but basically they were centralized. In the sense that in the centralized setup, the people who are employed full-time in the faculties were also given the responsibilities to teach at distance. But that has issues that are associated with it, as you may see. Let me just quickly move to the challenges. Yeah, this one is too slow. Let's see. I want to move into the challenges. I don't want to lose my 10 minutes. Okay? So when you have a centralized dual mode kind of situation in a university, you expect yourself to have a lot of challenges associated with that. Okay? The staff who have limited time for distance activities, they will be more loyal to teaching the face-to-face students than it is at distance. And of course, the administrative structures may not necessarily be adequate for ODL, because the setup is for people who are learning on face-to-face mode. So there's always that kind of wrangle between where should we pay more attention, okay? And you have to be very mindful about that one. So it comes with a lot of institutional politics. There will be conflicts between the people who are teaching, between those who are designing the materials and so on, and later on the students, because the students, they are on the receiving end. So you have a student who is wanting to get engagement with an academic, and then the academic says, this is not my primary responsibility. Okay? So you'll find that these challenges may really be delaying your process, okay? Maybe delaying your process or sabotaging the whole process of distance education. And because of all these issues that are associated, all these challenges that are associated, we are now proposing that probably we should move on to the decentralized mode for institutions. And in this mode, what are we trying to say? What we are trying to say is we want to recognize the presence of both the traditional mode of teaching and the distance mode of teaching in university. But then how do we staff these? The thinking or the argument is that, look, you may as well have your staff in the traditional mode, but you must also think about staffing full-time in distance, so that you have dedicated staff who are going to execute the services at distance. And what are we trying to say? Basically, what we are trying to say is when you have your staffing that are dedicated at distance, these will have more time to engage with the students. They will be more focused in terms of following all the administrative activities of distance. From the enrollments, they'll be able to follow. From the student support, they'll be able to follow. Engagement in the teaching and learning itself, they'll be able to follow. And of course, even offering after service to the students. So these people will be more dedicated. But also maybe what is also even important to look at is we need to be taking decisions quite fast on behalf of the students, because if we don't do that, we are going to discourage our clients. And remember, everyone else is trying to look for those same clients that we have, so they are likely to be offering no competition. So if you don't take decisions quickly, students may opt out from an institution to another institution while they think the service is much better. So we need to look at that. Okay? The way we process our exams, the way we do supervision for those who are doing their masters and PhDs also matters in this process. So the coordination of these activities, if they are done at a decentralized level by the ODL unit itself, are likely to be more faster compared to the normal traditional way of handling their things. So we are advocating for this. But most importantly, how does then this bring the issue of cost benefit to the universities? You may agree with us, colleagues, that you may agree with us, colleagues, that basically, when you have full-time members of staff in the university, these people consume quite a lot. Okay? In terms of payroll costs, you'll find 60 to 70% of the payroll cost is going to the matters of remuneration. But when you are staffing at distance, you have the leeway of having people at part-time, and you can have people we call anchors for each of the programs. So the anchors may not be many numbers, but the part-timers that you engage to teach each of the courses that is available in the program might not be very costly. How are we saying this? If you are employed at full-time, your conditions of service might attract certain conditions such as gratuities or pension schemes that the institution have to prepare for. But when you bring in part-timers to teach in the distance mode, you are paying for the service provided. Is it the supervision? Is it the teaching hours that you are paying for? So that becomes very, very less costly to you. And you are able to leverage over that less costly and be able to offer a proper service where it's supposed to be, such as bringing in the technology that Professor Peter was showing. Because technology itself is not very cheap to run. You have to spend on it. So you cannot spend on technology and then spend on staffing at the same time. You might not be cost effective. But when you are doing this dual mode, it really helps you. Some learning experiences from the base of Cape Town, what they do for themselves to ensure that their standards in terms of quality service, once they bring in the part-timers, they take them through a formal training on how to offer an effective quality service of teaching, counselorship, and of tutorship, including supervision to the part-timers. It is only after you have gone through that process that you are given the leeway to conduct your services as a part-time member of staff. So we are advocating for such kind of a situation to be adopted by colleagues that we try to reform or transform the higher education sector at distance. Thank you very much.
Thank you for speaking within 10 minutes. Of course, I removed the introduction. If I did introduction, it was going to be catching. So, quick reactions, 2 questions. I know there are presenters from yesterday who didn't present. Are they the audience representative for those who didn't present yesterday? If you are here, please come in front so that we can squeeze you. Please, those who didn't present yesterday. Yeah, so tea is ready, coffee is ready. You will not break for coffee. You just stand up and pick your cup of coffee, come and sit down so that we save on time. Just with some tea, some coffee, some water. Let's just walk behind. You pick your cup of tea, then you come back. The presentations will continue. Any questions to Mr. Omundela? Any questions? Those who haven't spoken? Oh, it looks like people are going for coffee. Okay, there's a question here.
Well, nice presentation. My question is Zicta and Airtel. The data issue. Why can't we have a part as educators to be given data and consumption? Please, thank you.
The data issue, I'm worried people have gone for coffee. It appears the stomach is complaining. Maybe we just pause, people can grab their cup of coffee, then they come back. Let's just pause for 2-3 minutes. Let's grab our coffee, please, then we come back. Even the presenters, please, you may want to, but keep that question in mind.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Is Zamren here?
Colleagues who were supposed to present yesterday and never presented, are we here?
There's a gentleman I saw earlier on, maybe he's just going to get.
I know Dr. Mwangi is already here.
There's Mr.
So
Okay.
I'm okay.
No, not yet. I'm not doing it now. You know where we are stuck. Because we are doing it.
So ladies and gentlemen, we can continue having our coffee, tea, some water. This gentleman has a very interesting question. Huh? I want him to ask that question. I think I overheard him asking me a question. I want him to ask I'll actually follow him.
The man has run out.
No, he wants to ask from his comfort zone. I know. He wants to ask from there.
Well, I wanted to ask it Nicodemously, but he overheard. Thank you very much for the presentation. I have liked it. I am Dr. Smatele again from UNZA University. My question is, have you based this model on public universities or you have also considered private universities like Rusangu University, for example, where we face enrollment challenges. And because of that, administration is faced with a situation of should we employ more or not? Just to run the full-time program and also distance, administration is faced with financial challenges to balance up. Now, if we are to apply this model as proposed, where we employ staff specifically for ODL, what is the best way, the practicality of this in private universities where finances are a challenge, especially of low enrollment? How best would this be applied in that situation? Basically, that was my question.
Yeah, very, very good question. Huh? Private universities and this model. I'm looking for a lady to make the last question or comment. We are not a chauvinist society. We want to balance our views. Do you have any lady who wants to ask a question? The ladies are busy enjoying the food. Okay, maybe there are no questions. We can save on time. Stanley, you have two questions. I think you heard the first one, and you have the next question. Would you kindly respond?
Thank you, Prof. The first one was really, I might say, directed to Zika and the colleagues. What should they do in terms of making data available? I think it's a fair question. Fair in the sense that they need to be seen to be contributing to the promotion of distance learning. Because that's the way to go. We saw it during COVID. Everyone else had to learn at distance, basically. That's what happened. So what should we do? Should we see the bundles going higher, or should we have packages for students? Because we know that these mobile service providers, they create services for different categories of clients. Chezera, what, and so on and so on. We've heard of all those things. So why shouldn't you be, as a regulator, be encouraging them to come up with a service where data can be much cheaper for the students, as long as it's proof that this is the student? Maybe that's something that data can look into.
Okay.
Then the next question was, how do we apply the model that we are proposing for private institutions or for private universities? I'm very grateful for that question, sir, and I think it's a very relevant question. Like I said, when we were thinking about this presentation, we were coming from a well-known position, from an experience-based position. And we are thinking that as you are modeling your businesses, your higher education business, distance should actually be seen as that cash cow. The easiest way to make money in your business should actually come from distance, because it does not have limitations associated with class-based learning. Those who are coming for class, you will have to have restrictions in terms of numbers. I will go to accommodate them for accommodation, for the learning space, and so on and so forth. But at distance, you can actually have more numbers coming from there. Maybe the question is, to what extent are you modeling your business? Are you promoting your business to attract enough clients to come from? Okay, that's another talk for another day. I think Prof likes that talk. Okay, that's another issue. But really, it lies in there. How do you model your business to use distance as a cash cow? It works. But now, the issue is, we are advocating for you to have your specific staff in distance or at distance, using what we may say a blended approach. You may have full-time members of staff as anchors for the programs that you are running. And then the majority of the people who are teaching are at part-time. When you do that, you will find that the cost that is associated with the anchor, just one person you are going to employ, to anchor that program. The pay that you are going to give that person can actually pay the rest of the other part-timers on the program. Let's take, for instance, there are some universities that pay maybe 20,000 per lecturer full-time, but that's not all you are paying. You may be giving gratuities, you may be giving pension, others may even give maybe some health scheme associated with that. When you add up, you find that the cost that was just one person is way too much to bear. And those who are teaching at part-time, you are paying them per hour and pay the number of hours spent per program. Usually 3 hours per week by maybe, I don't know how many weeks that you teach per semester, 15 weeks. When you compute, you'll find that within 20,000 you are able to pay about 6 to 7 people that you are involved, you have engaged at part-time. And that is very much cheaper compared to employing people on a full-time basis. The issue is, what are you paying for? Have you streamlined what you pay for? It also helps to do what we call salary surveys. At the University of Zambia, we used to do that. We'll talk to colleagues, get the figures, compare, so that you don't pay too less and you don't also overspend. So you pay at least a competitive fee per hour. And when you compare, you find that it is going to be more relatively cheaper on your side. In fact, this model is even more better suited to private institutions than public institutions. Because the public institutions will come and argue that it's a responsibility of government to pay. So we need the people, let them teach, and let government pay. Of course, that's not cost effective. But when you're on the private side, you are looking at it to say, it's me. The money that I get, I still need to find it. And I need to get a profit out of what I'm spending on this business. So this model is actually very, very much suited on the private side. The issue is sit down, model your business, look at the number of students you need, look at the number of anchors per each of the program, how much do you need to pay them, and then see the number of items that you need to bring in. Then adjust your payroll cost. You will agree with me that it's going to be very cost effective to you. I hope I'm trying to respond.
Ladies and gentlemen, a hand for Mr. Mundila. Let's give him a hand. After breakfast, hand is strong. After breakfast. Yeah, so the conversation continues. I know we may interact over lunch, so we may still get some more questions, some more feedback, which is good for this presentation. And there's no harm really to talk to him. I have a whisper in his ears in case of something thought-provoking. If he provokes you so much, you need to ask him. He's around. So again, we thank you, Mr. Mundila, for the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I'll do something different because we have our colleagues who didn't present yesterday. We have a carryover. So I have two presenters at a time. They're presenting in a row. We ask them questions together. I'm seeking indulgence. Are you supporting me? Yes, we have two presenters, they run, then I invite another two, they run. So we ask questions in pairs. Yeah, so I'll invite Dr. Mange from Graduate School of Business make a presentation, followed by Dr. Chopela from Chalimbana. Then the last two are Dr. My student, I can abuse, was my PhD student, so I'm abusing. I called Natalia. Imagine for the 4 years we were together, I called her Natalia. Now I can call her Dr. Zulu. She's Dr. Zulu. Yeah. So the two of them will be the last ones to present, just to make sure the logistical issues are sorted out. So Dr. Mange, 10 minutes presentation, so the most important issues. Then Dr. Chopela will follow.
Thank you so much, Professor Masaiti. I'm Austin Mange from the Graduate School of Business. We are presenting a paper with my director, Dr. Wazoka, and our Deputy Director, Dr. Bupe on a slight change of the title, but mainly we are going to look at sustainable competitive advantage. I know in this group we are all promoting ODL, but also we have to promote it in such a way that each one of us is thinking of being the main competitor that can sustain this competitive advantage. So a bit, I'm from business, so I have qualifications in business management, economics, and finance. So the key thing is we are in a competitive environment, so you should always think of being the only one. You know, business is a war. It's like the way Ukraine or Russia, USA. That's how you should consider business. All things being equal, the USA would not love to see Russia on the face of the earth. Just like Russia would not want to see USA on the face of the earth. And just like UNZA would love to be the only university in Zambia. And Zambia also wanting to be the only university in Zambia. So if you have ShopRite would rather have no pick and pay. So you are ever coming up with strategy. It's a war. You are not like seeing it. So if someone introduces a product, they are trying to counter the other. So as graduate school business, we are competitors. We wouldn't love to see Zcash, which should go into extinction. We would not love to see CBU. We would not love to see school business for UNILAS, all those. So that's how we should know how to attain that sustainable competitive advantage. So under ODL now particularly, I thought we can discuss this because of the interactions. All of us here, if you came to UNZA, I think all of us here experienced a situation where there was no customer care, no relationship management. We were like just coming to be mistreated. And the lecturers who didn't have the connection, the link between the students being seen as the client who is bringing money that is paying their salaries. Our Vice Chancellor during the last graduation ceremony, this speech did indicate that I think over 60% of our emoluments come from students, not from government. More than that. So the way you see products on the streets, tomato or whatever you check, that's how we should see students as such. But of course, while we are maintaining quality. Yeah. So that is more about sustainable competitive advantage. I think you are right. And you need to come up with a strategy on how you are going to attain sustainable competitive advantage, meaning to understand what your strategy is, how to outcompete your rivals. And in this case, when it's ODL, the rivals are too many. You will have online programs across the globe. You can just choose a university. We're lucky, I think, UNZA IDE and UNZA GSP. I think GSP was the PhDs graduation from Dubai, some universities in Dubai. We had some people from Saudi Arabia, a number of people. So they chose IO, ODL, UNZA. And you know, for us here in Zambia, our universities, all of them are accredited with the Higher Education Authority. So you can leverage also on accreditation, because that's one of the things that students are looking at. So this university over in ODL, is it accredited in its own country? So and I think when they check Istanbul, they check Eden, and so forth, they'll be able to to come to your university. How to respond to economic market conditions and growth opportunities, very important. We know right now, okay, the challenges we are going through economically, that's it. We are businesses, so what you are supposed to think, there's nothing like, this is a public university, this is a private university. We are all business organizations. I think in reality, there is no organization which is called not for profit. Yes, we say not for profit, but they are all business organizations. So it's a university. And that's what I think for us at UNZA, we've gone through protocol to transform ourselves into a business institution, forgetting about the government, but of course leveraging as a public university gives a small advantage. So look at how to improve your firm's financial and market performance. If you are in Istanbul, there shouldn't be a problem of students. If you are doing all DEL, we are here, there are so many lecturers across here who can teach from any part of the world. I think our assistant director for ODEL, we graduated a lot of PhDs, which are, I think, business management. Most of the lecturers who are not Zambians, others outside the country and so forth, just interact online. And even on online supervision, these are areas we can invest in. I remember a student coming to have his papers, his dissertation signed. I was at the IDE or IDE. So I passed with this one was passing, so I passed. And when I reached UNZA here, I was phoned, doctor, I'm told you are the one I just saw pass. Because I was supervising this student for 3 years, I never met him, and that was the first time. I said, we met at IDE, I didn't know him, he didn't know me. And I told him, come to UNZA, I'll sign your papers of clearance. So it is easier, you don't need to think. So just think of this all the time about strategy. And I wanted to look at how we can apply Johnston White scores in terms of gaining competitive, sustainable. And I think we have the sustainability well now, so everything has to be sustainable. UNZA has to be number one throughout, but it is not possible if we don't take certain things into account, because there are also rivals. All of us here have come, but we are rivals to each other. We would love to be the ones to get the students online, face-to-face, and so forth. So you need to understand your strategic position, and in that strategic position, understand your external environment, understand your purpose, your mission, align, and I think since I'm presenting in Zambia, I'll say, align all these to our national development strategy, which is our 8th National Development Plan. Then align all your programs as our Deputy Director for eCampus was indicating. You have to also align to global goals, the Sustainable Development Goals, then align to our African Agenda 2063, so that the programs are going to be relevant, trying to put in industrial 4.0 in the programs. So that is very, very important, because your market is not only Zambia. So if you are doing all DEL, yes, you are going to come up with programs that respond to national needs, so that we can achieve the strategic areas that are in the 8th National Development Plan. But you also know that you have a market outside Zambia, and how to cover it to our SDGs, how to cover it to our African Agenda 2063. And all of us here should know what our agenda is as Africa in terms of education. Then you have to look at your strategic choices, which are already covered, your business model, you consider yourself as having more innovations, strategic alliances. I said we are enemies, we are threats to each other, but we can have some collaborations, even one right now, where we partner and so forth. So we need alliances. Companies go into alliances and so forth. Those strategic alliances are very, very important. And then we go on the ground and go into action and implement. So there are many areas here. I just tried to look at this because all this has gone down into into the presentation, but due to time, we have been told we have to share this. So you need to look at the presentation, read and understand it, but of course, the strategic position, you identify the resources. I've discussed all this, so I can move quickly down to, I think, what is very important of strategic choices is that you need to differentiate yourself. Differentiation, why does a person buy a product? It's not, we don't buy for products for being cheap only. That's one of them. You can also do differentiation of cost leadership. So under differentiation, be the best, make yourself different, make a product so unique. And I tell students, we are supervising a lot of students, and our university is focusing, our Vice Chancellor one time indicated that we should supply, all the universities in Zambia, we are focusing on supplying them with PhD lecturers. So our market is that because there are universities that have been merged and they need market, they need lecturers. So if they need lecturers, we should differentiate ourselves as the best in the production of PhDs. And these PhDs, we are going to send them to sample, to all these universities, to all these. So we are trying to move up so that as other universities move into the bachelors, we go up there. And that's why we are seeing that I think our graduation now has moved. Those of you are here from the graduation square. Now we are in the grounds. They are taking 1 week and PhDs almost 100, and I think going forward, we want to be reaching 500. So we want to differentiate ourselves, we supervise within a short period of time. Somehow they're taking long, we finish on time, online, and so forth. All these platforms are there. So I think my lecture person is good, so I'll say, try by all means to ensure develop programs that will first of all meet our needs. And all of us here should know that from 2021 to 2026, our strategic areas are economic transformation and job creation. So those programs should respond to this. So this should be connected to what Professor Jackson was indicating. Are going to bring programs which will be not responsive to this? So human, social development, environmental sustainability, and global goals. Chair, just 1 minute I go down to the last part. In business, those of you have done strategy, you understand that we have a concept called VRIN. It's VRIN or VRIN or by Ben. So what you should always look at as a provider of OTPR is that you should provide value. It should be the value that nobody else should provide. And that's what we're trying to do at JSP, that's what we're trying to do at IDE and UNZA in general. This is what UNZA is trying to do. We should be rare. Nobody should do things the way we do, because a sustainable competitive advantage, you can't have it if people can be there to do what you do, if they can imitate. So something which can be imitated and cannot be substituted. You can't, and our organization should be that management has put up structures. You've seen that all our programs are decentralized so that you are able to respond fast to the needs of society and the students. So if you apply the VRIN, or even at personal level, where we are going, some jobs won't be there. So apply this. Am I of value? Do I have education that is valuable? Am I being rare in my application? Or can someone copy me? If someone can copy what you're doing, then that can't be sustainable. You can't compete throughout. And if you can be substituted, so what we want when we're offering our PhDs online, no one should think of substituting to say, okay, let me go to another university. You should remain here, or in this case, think of your university. So I'm thinking of my university. So we're saying, remain, and then you can't substitute. Chair, I can't hear.
A hand for Dr. Namangala, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, please keep your questions in mind. We are going to run concurrently, as I said, how you can survive. How can you survive as a university, as an institution, as a department? How can you be different, and how can you be the best? So let's keep our questions, our suggestions, as I invite Dr. Copperbelt to make a presentation. Hope we'll not forget. Are we taking notes? I didn't see anyone taking notes. Oh, your geniuses. The questions are in the head, huh? Okay, you have the 10 minutes to make your presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon or good morning. Good afternoon. Okay, I'm Dr. from the University from Chalimbana University. From the.
Sean did say from the University of Zambia, Chalimbana. So we forgive.
Okay, sorry, because I also work part-time at the University of Zambia, so that ends the mix-up. Otherwise, I'm from Chalimbana University, from the Department of Primary and Secondary Education. And we are presenting girl colleagues that are not around, so they are here in spirit. So the lead presenter is from the Mathematics Department. So the presentation is on STEAM education technologies in higher learning classroom spaces at Chalimbana University. So I'm sure all of us are aware that most we've made use of the face-to-face kind of teaching, but then the coming of COVID-19 and also the pandemic that we've had, it has prompted us to go into online learning. So we wanted just to interrogate to see how we are trying to embed the STEAM education technologies in our teaching for these ODE students that we have. So the use of ICT tools in the teaching and learning of mathematics is aimed at increasing the ODE students' computational thinking, broadening their participation, taking the inclusion of all without gender, because mostly people would think mathematics or these ICT subjects are hardcore and would be only for the male, but it's not the case. So everyone has the capacity to do that. So training ODE teachers for effective and interdisciplinary teaching of the different areas of STEAM education is encouraged. Majority of mathematics educators do not have sufficient technical skills to design and develop digital mathematics content, despite the availability of ICT software and hardware tools, and also having the ICT labs in the universities. The methodologies that apply STEM tools in education have emerged in the recent years, like we have seen from the authors, for example, the recent authors in 2017 to 2021, in order for us to have that holistic and engaging lesson. So methodology courses offered in teacher preparation programs have not been adequately modeled the standard of using technology or incorporating them in effective approaches to technology integration into the single technology course in the universities. Current teaching methodologies used by teachers in this digital age due to training deficiencies do not really reflect the teaching and learning that will prepare students to face the future with clear mindset of using technology for instruction, especially during the time of pandemic, for example, when we had COVID-19, and also when we had the cholera, when we had no face-to-face contacts with the students at that time, but they had to come and we had to make them come and learn at a certain time or try to see how we would engage them. So in order to close this gap, technological methodologies that apply and integrate STEM education pedagogies need to be encouraged through the formulation of compulsory educational policy that promotes the use of STEM ICT pedagogies alongside engaging view-oriented strategies for better digital training competencies and attainment of problem-solving skills among the mathematics and ICT students in the institution. So the objectives of the study were to, and I would like to mention that it's an ongoing study, so we have preliminary findings from this study and from the objectives that I'm going to give. So one of the objectives was to investigate the ODE student teachers' knowledge of integrating STEAM education technologies in responding to the questionnaire that we had given them that was subject content related.
Also to identify STEAM education application devices that are used in training of OD student teachers at the university. And the third one was to establish the university policies in the use of content-specific technologies in the training of OD student teachers. I'm sure those that were there yesterday, this was one of the issues when we were talking about the policy. Do the universities have policies that they are following in terms of OD and incorporation of ICT or ODE policies? So we had, I will not talk much about the methodology, but it was mixed, and we had an embedded design, and we had state respondents that comprised the theory, mathematics, ICT, and mathematics students that were in third year. And then we also had the mathematics and ICT lecturers as well as the deans in the respective schools. And they were randomly and purposefully sampled, and then we had the subject matter non-diagnostic questionnaire test that was based on mathematics contents as well as an interview guide that was specifically used in order to check on the policy that is being used and how it is being implemented. And we had descriptive statistics that were done for the analysis. So the preliminary findings from the ongoing study are showing that for 2% of the students that we have were able to use computers to create the websites and platforms that they use to solve the given mathematics questions through the questionnaire that was given. So it shows us that though we have incorporated ICT in teaching them, very few of them are able to use the softwares and in order for them to solve the mathematics. A lot of them had challenges to solve the questions that they were given, despite them having a little bit of contacts on how to go about it. And then 52% were able to use the Android mobile app because it was easier and they've always had, and we've seen that digitally, even as I mentioned, we have a lot of smartphones, so even our students do have smartphones that they are using in order to solve, but we find that certain phones will not have all the applications that would be needed in order for them to solve the question. So even those that had used the phones, still they could not manage to solve certain mathematics questions that they were given. Then the other objective looked at the application devices used in the training of student teachers. So the results showed that 90% of student teachers training was conducted using the Microsoft Office, like the usual. All of us have this in our computers. And then also the use of the computers, the projectors on a regular basis. This was what was easier for them. And then the training was also done through the developed and created discussion forums such as Padlet, Moodle, Google Meet, and Google Classroom. So this is what was being used to teach. However, even the lecturers mentioned that there are certain type of software that they could not use in order to teach because of them not knowing how to go about it. So they also have some limitations and needed training in that area. So that's what the finding says. And then 35% used entity relationship diagrams and smart mobile phones to deliver the content to the students. However, the majority of the students, the majority of the lecturers, 85% of them opted to use the traditional teaching methods of learner-centered and reading methods. For example, recently we had the cholera outbreak, and this was an opportunity for the lecturers of ICT and mathematics to try and engage the students online and teach them these skills, but it was very difficult for them also to apply certain software to teach them, and they waited for an opportunity for the students to come in order for them just to have the face-to-face teaching, and that has been mostly the usual and the most preferred. And the lecturers, when they were talked together, they mentioned that it's because of connectivity. Sometimes it's not easy to engage the students that are in areas where there is connectivity problems. So we find that sometimes it's very difficult for them to do that. And also certain mathematics concepts, in order to teach them, it was very difficult for them also, based on what they were using to teach the students. So sometimes it was difficult even to engage them. So teaching would not go on as expected, and it was easier for them to explain the contents very well when it was face-to-face, because students were even given an opportunity to ask the questions. But then those that would have questions and they have connectivity problems, it would be very difficult for them to engage the lecturer for clarifications on how they could go about it. So as regards to the university policy on the use of content-specific technologies in the training of OD student teachers, the respondents said that there is no institution policy, but lecturers are encouraged to make students acquire ICT-related methodologies, and that the lecturers also could just have that zeal by themselves to have these trainings by themselves that could equip them with the knowledge that they need in order to enhance on what they already know. And for example, when we look at Banda's study in 2022, which talks of the policy of ICT-related pedagogy, and this study showed that this should be developed and introduced in colleges to make students acquire such new innovations to meet the learners of this century. So in conclusion, I'm looking at time, the chair is very mindful of time. The OD teachers had limited knowledge on the use of STEM education technology that we could see the 42% that had only managed to do the questions that they were given to answer. And the other conclusion is that Microsoft Office-based applications were used to teach mathematics instead of creating ICT-based application mathematics teaching. And also the university had no specific policies on the use of content-specific technologies in the training of student teachers. Based on the findings of the study, we recommend that the university should teach innovation in mathematics pedagogy so that students can use ICT tools to learn mathematics. The university should invest in ICT infrastructure. It's very limited. Our ICT lab is just one, and the space is not adequate, and we don't have a lot of computers there. A lecturer should invest in ICT skills development, and also the university should have a delivery policy to include ICT in teaching mathematics. Thank you so much.
Looks like, hello?
So ladies and gentlemen, another hand to Dr. Chopela. So I'll invite back to the stage Dr. Chopela and Dr. Mange to come and just pick a few questions and clarification in case the audience has some questions. So please, I invite you back to the stage. In case you are taking down some notes or questions, please you can raise your hands. You will ask our presenters. You are not taking down notes. We have two sets of presentation, how to best market your university, how to define yourselves, how to be the best in higher education, and STEM. I was wondering, STEM, what is STEM? STEM, but there was A there. It's not STEM, there was another A.
A is for art.
So what is it called? Is it STEM or STEM?
There is STEM. We used to have STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Now we have STEM. So STEM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. STEM.
That's STEM now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I saw it wasn't STEM, it was actually STEM. Yeah, questions, ladies and gentlemen. This is your session. Feel free to ask questions. You can't come from a conference, no question asked, just seated as an audience. No. You must say something in a conference. So that when you go back, you can shine, you know? I'm looking for questions. Yeah, you've been asking questions. That's what I'm getting back to you. Yes, I'm looking around. Yes, the same people asking questions. Okay.
Thank you very much. I have enjoyed the two presentations a lot. Because they are stimulating my thinking as I listened to the presentation from the business side. I see very good suggestions on how we can improve our business. But I want to find out from, is it Dr. Chikopela?
Yes.
All right. what has been your experience? I followed your presentation, but I want to hear from you how easy it has been for you to teach mathematics online. And I want to find out, do you have music? If you do, what has been your experience also in dealing with that? And these other science related, okay, not so much, but I want you to comment on mathematics in particular. What has been the feedback? And I just want to find out.
Thank you. Hope Dr. Chikopela have taken notes. Yes, let me get, there are two questions there from the director. He has two questions to ask.
Okay, Dr. Chikopela, first of all, I give you 99% looking at the problem, because you are coming out as people who are seeing what is on the ground. My first question is Dr. Mwange. Dr. Chikopela for the first one, male. Yes, Dr. Chikopela. The business angle for education today, we are missing out one important thing.
Sorry, you're mixing. That's what
Dr. Mwange.
Okay.
Yes, we have two important things that we are looking at in terms of education. The first thing that you looked at was the heart of the professor, University of Zambia. University of Zambia has provided services, and I am one of the products from the University of Zambia, and I'm thanking God for me to be part of this system. I think the only thing that becomes very difficult is how do we involve the former learners who are here. See, from 1964, my father used to be a person who used to get money for University of Zambia. He was working for the government of Zambia by then, and now he's retired. He's blind, by the way. So my question is, how do we illuminate the former lecturers, former university professors? How do we catch up the statistics in terms of the same program we are looking at? So alluding to the same fact, Madam is looking at also the issue of ICT. We have people who have done ICT in the profession of the country, across the country and overseas, should I say outside the country. We can have centers for professionals and teachers who are coming to this kind of accolade we are talking about. The only mistake that I've seen in Zambia, why do we don't have the appreciating factor? For example, we don't have the innovation of appreciating the brand. For example, if I come with the innovation of improving Bloom's taxonomy, okay? I have a program for Bloom's taxonomy which we shall soon going to present to the Ministry of Education. So I want to ask you, how do we put the infrastructure for ICT language, for example? We have elocution problem in the country. Children who are coming to the country, for example, I'm putting this example, Dr. Prof. You look at children who are in the classes who are saying, "Good morning, teacher. How are you? We are very well." That is a concept that we can also create a space. I met a child I was teaching outside. He says, "You have come for the conference. What have you brought here?" So my question is, how do we put up the ICT, and how do we record a positive angle with the professors who are here and professors who have gone? So push up the topic on that kind of a thing. If we bring professors who can sit this side, and the current professors who can sit this side, and the other professors who are called those who are in the training of the lecturing concept, you put them this side. So you can ask the old professors, what have they benefited? What have benefited from this kind of angle? I've benefited something Professor X taught me when I was at the A level. And this other professor will come here
And the current professor for 2000 and professor for this time, there are two different professors. Because the AI professor is different from the current professor. I think I should ask those questions. Please, can we think on how we can put the ICT infrastructure? Thank you so much, Professor.
Some illustrations, and also some of your questions you have answered it yourself, which is good. But at least I'm sure colleagues have taken notes of some of the questions from the business angle and also from an institutional angle. I'm appealing for the, I will not hesitate. I will not hesitate to give you a chance.
Good morning. Good afternoon, presenters and the audience. I have a question coming from the differentiation strategy that Dr. Mony mentioned. My question is, as a distance student, we go through a lot of challenges. And I'm a product of 3 universities here in Zambia. And I've noted that there's some kind of abandonment on the part of the institution versus the student at distance education level. So when you talk about differentiation strategy, is there a way in which, as we are differentiating our products, we can come up with strategies that get to know what the particular learner is going through? For example, the University of Zambia has a lot of students under IDE, but as an individual student, what I am facing, the problems I am facing, that may probably lead to me quitting the program and going to another university. Is there a possibility that as we are developing that strategy, that factor could be put into consideration? Because I think it's a very serious thing. I've been doing distance education since 2004, and my first experience was with an international university, and there was a lot of follow-up. But when I started to do a distance education program, I will not mention the universities, but UNZA is one of them, I noted that we really have to struggle as students to get information, to get attention, to even know who to address our issues as students. So maybe that maybe have a complaint in it, but I think Doc has got the point. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will not coerce people anymore. I'll allow my panel to respond. There are issues of teaching maths online. There are issues of differentiation strategy and other issues. Anyone can go first.
All right, thank you. Okay, so from my colleague, in terms of experience, he said it's not very easy, because I also had to find out from him how he's doing it. So I'll talk on his part on mathematics, then I'll also talk on our part in my specialization. For example, he said that it's not easy because if we are doing the face-to-face when the distance students have come, infrastructure is inadequate and we have usually over 1,000 students. So our ICT lab is it has limited capacity and students cannot be taught at once. So it is a challenge. And then also when he's teaching online, you also mentioned that connectivity is an issue, and the experience is not so good because of the same. And also applies to me, I have students that have special needs, those that have hearing impairment, those that have vision impairment. So also I have challenges because of one, there's connectivity issues and also infrastructure, and also in terms of language, sometimes it's not easy. For example, if I'm using caption for the hearing impaired, sometimes do not capture the actual content of what I have said, and it could be quite misleading. So these are the issues, infrastructure and connectivity. And then also, I think it was a comment from the staff there, which talked about the centers for professionals in ICT. So I think maybe it's a matter of identifying where they are and those that have been trained, so that there's a deliberate move on how they can bring together this content and also try to train others on how to go about it. And then in institutions like where we are, I think the institution should also strive for partnership with organizations that are putting up infrastructure in ICT, and also engage the government on the same, so that we could be helped.
Thank you, Doc. Professor, there are some questions that have been applied, and some people can answer them here. briefly, I can just comment if you permit. On alumni, I think former registrar maybe can just comment a bit. Then on what is happening, Dr. Mkabla, we have a professor here very quickly. Then we make it apply. Right.
Maybe we could give the registrar first on alumni. I know there are some initiatives on alumni and UNZA has been preaching about it. There was a question on how do we treat our students, the past students, those who have left, are we valuing these assets?
Yeah. True. I think that's a very good observation, and we need to do that because we are who we are because of the clients. And these clients, they come, they stay, they leave, but they never leave indeed. They are always with us. So what we've been doing from the university perspective, from the side of them coming, you've seen now the university as the customer service center. The whole idea of the customer service center is to bring an experience into the life of a student. Those skills of the past that we used to have, the majority of you who were students today will realize that in the past we used to have queues. You have to go on the line at 04, or you leave your friend on the line to keep a space as a space holder for you to just go and pay or get a receipt. Now, you can't do that in the life of a student. You can't. Because then what kind of people or citizens are you creating for a nation? Is that a culture we need to propagate as a country? Probably no, it's not the way to go. So we introduced the customer service center to bring at least a bit of some life to see the care from the investor side. Because tomorrow these are the same people who are going to run these institutions. And so what do we want them to have at the couch? So they come in, we recognize them, we give them a service in a more dignified manner, the customer service center. Then they come in as alumni, as students, they should also be going to the customer service center. But as alumni, we started, I think in 2013, 2014, we had an open day where we had to invite previous students from the university to showcase what we were trying to do. There was also a formal strategy that we tried to bring in by bringing a consultant to come and formalize the alumni processes, and an office was hence established. There's a full-fledged committee right now that is working towards bringing in the formalities now to the alumni side so that we can see the value. We've been doing a bit of this and that, while we have seen even students sponsoring the former rooms that they have occupied. Those are former University of Gambia students. And we had even started the renovation of the library, the auditorium, for instance, was sponsored by the alumni. So we need to strengthen on some of these activities because they are very valuable and they are very necessary for our well-being. I'm looking forward to a situation where in the future, all activities of the university are shared with the alumni through our electronic platforms, emails and so on, and so social media platforms. That will go a long way in strengthening that aspect.
Thank you so much. You wanted to comment on which issue?
I think see how we have transformed IDE now. Maybe it's
transformation? Okay, that's Dr. Mkabla. Sorry, doctor, this man is a very bad man. You make everyone speak.
I've said that.
Yes, please.
Well, in response, I think I would want to respond to her fears of distance students being so isolated. And like the past few years, I think IDE, after the COVID-19, has made efforts to create a warm environment for our students. And we are doing this through, we've tried to strengthen systems through our provincial offices. We now have IDE learner support officers. Yes, we do. And that makes it easy. Instead of students thinking of coming to UNZA in Lusaka, they're able to interact with personnel from our provincial offices. And further on, we are also taking advantages of platforms like WhatsApp groups. Each and every program has a WhatsApp group. And you find that we are able, students, even wherever they are able to communicate. We are on those groups and we are able to respond and communicate with them effectively. So we are trying to establish a community where we are able to engage every day and they are able to reach us at any time. So I think with that, that's why we've seen positive results, especially at PhD level, where we are seeing a lot of graduates, because we keep them engaged at all times. The master's the same. So we're really trying to reach out to our students. Yeah.
Thank you, Doc, for that response. There was a question on differentiation strategy. Would you want to respond to that? Please, may I help you?
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Doc. The differentiation is, you know how UNZA has changed. I gave you an example. We are facing a threat. We are a monopoly, a public university. We are a monopoly like ZESCO, it was unbundled the other day. Yeah, but now you have come on board. That's why this conference is not full of UNZA alone. It's for various universities which are here. It's a national ODEL for a number of universities. For us, you are threats. So how do we now differentiate, make the product unique, differentiate various products that we have, and the number of systems have been worked on so that we can at least maintain our sustainable competitive advantage, always number one. So what do? We look at, okay, these universities, look at management, it's thinking very innovative. They say, okay, we can't stop them from running programs, but let's look at them as the areas where we can, they need PhDs. I'll give you an example. They will need people to teach in those universities. Do they have capacity as a town to provide PhDs? Most of them don't. Who has capacity? The University of Zambia. At a faster rate, within 2-3 years, you can produce a PhD almost in every program. So to make us unique, okay, centralization, I think my boss is here, my professor, they know how the systems now are, how to decentralize PhD postgraduate programs to schools, and I'm empowering IDE as well to be more decentralized. So we find that that's where the differentiation is coming in. So you focus, you say, okay, also there are various types of differentiation. So we say, okay, so now we are also going online. By the way, it may look like a joke. I was telling my professor here, Professor Jackson P, that trying to check from Cape to Cairo all the universities who are offering the number of programs we are offering on e-learning, you find that the University of Zambia is number one. Most of them are offering maybe one program, 2 programs, whereas through IDE, we have e-campus programs. I think you have seen somewhere there. That's another way we're trying to differentiate ourselves so that we can capture the market. In business is what they call, there are advantages and disadvantages, first mover. So we have been the first mover. And in this case, it's about a student also being attended to very well, and I think we have several meetings and so forth. So you can enroll. Those of you who are running OGEL, if you want to have an experience so that you run it even better. I know Professor Smith was telling me I even enrolled on one of the programs somewhere, I don't know if it's a diploma or what, or masters, just to have experience and bring it there. And invest also a lot. Those of you who are policymakers, managers, you know, when you're looking at marketing doesn't bring money instantly. It's long term. So it's like you say, say, why should we pay you to do this when I want things now? So also some of you are leaders, don't be strict. Let people go. If you want to thank you, Prof.
I think in your heart, right? You're happy the ways you can differentiate yourself from others. That's a strategic kind of undertaking. So ladies and gentlemen, give a hand to Dr. Mange and Dr. Chope. I have done a wonderful job. Yeah. So again, I'll do something very unfamiliar. I'll allow all the three presenters to present in a row. So that in the interest of time, it's better they present and to give them questions at the end. We'll start with who are we starting with? Ladies. Dr. Natalia Zolo. Please, you're also another friend. Come in front here. Mr. Swaniso, come in front. You're from yesterday, want to give you an opportunity to present. After the two ladies with the last presenters. So 10 minutes, I'll be strict on time now. If you can do it in less time, I'll be happy. Dr. Zolo, if you can do it in 8 minutes, that would be nice. You need help? Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Natalia Zulu. I'm coming from Zambia University College of Technology in Lola. Actually, this paper was supposed to present the three of us, myself, and then there's Dr. Waupe. She's not with us, she's attending some international duties. And then my colleague here who is an IT guru, Mr. Kaptula. This review actually is looking at innovation in education technology that supports distance learning in institutional higher education in Zambia. It is just a systematic literature review. And I think most of the presenters have talked much about the importance of ICT. But there's one thing that I really need to bring to the attention of the audience, that is how can we make let's say, how can we improve on the same ICTs that we are using in class? We all understand that the advent of online learning platforms has transformed higher learning education and it has offered increased accessibility, flexibility, and continuity regardless of the distance or emerging pandemic. And then new developments in technology have brought about innovativeness in education delivery. And the education sector has utilized the e-learning technology and has recorded some progress in education accessibility. The distance education is one of the teaching modes that has benefited from these technologies. When you look at distance education and technology, I need to bring to attention that in distance education, technology has been mirrored in its contemporary conceptualization, as explained in the following examples. Distance education learning is defined as a teaching method based on the use of multimedia and internet technologies to increase the availability and value of education. And then the other one is talking about distance education being a self-directed autonomous learning experience using technology that networks students with resources and have great freedom and flexibility, but less direct teacher contact and direction. From these definitions, it's clear that distance learning can be very effective with the use of technology. However, though technology has contributed to the effectiveness of distance learning programs, more needs to be done to improve the teaching and learning process via online. As we enter our 2023 states, innovation in teaching and learning does not only entail high-tech educational technologies, but the use of what works best for the learners. In supporting this statement, the theory of communication and learner control poses a two-way communication. Poses that a two-way communication should be administered in a way that controls the teaching and learning process with the support of technologies. Hence, the review focused on the innovations in education technology that can support distance learning in institutions of higher education in Zambia. And then to address this issue, three objectives were tackled. That is to review the learning online platforms that are commonly used in distance learning in Zambian higher learning institutions. And then we also had to look at the factors that influence the choice of online platforms in Zambian higher learning institution. And then we also had to establish the teaching strategies that would be ideal in improving the online teaching and learning process in distance learning in Zambian learning, in Zambian higher learning institution. And then to carry out this review, of course, I had to follow up a certain methodology, that is the prepared reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis, that is PRISMA 2020. And then this is what was done as I was researching, since it's 100% literature desk review. I had to use the keywords to set on the scopus, that is distance learning innovations, technology, online collaboration, and higher learning institution. And not on all documents that were retrieved from the scopus were used. We are only concentrating on those that have been published from 2015 to 2024. And from the results, we managed to get 523. And then in selecting these documents, the criteria was used. We only considered those that were written in English and those that were reporting on inclusive studies. And 38 articles were selected for analysis, and content analysis was used to come up with the findings that follows. So under the common learning platforms that are commonly used in distance learning in Zambia, we have Moodle, Austria, Zoom, Google Classroom, Google Meet, Big Blue Button, Cisco WebEx, and then other collaboration tools included also are Facebook and WhatsApp. I won't say much on this. I've got a colleague who is a good in ICT. If you need more explanation on how to go about this, is here, can still help. And then for those who want to learn how to go about the use of this, our institution, Zambia ICT, Zambia University College of Technology, actually is available, and there are a lot of slots that we have for those who want to learn. Then moving to the second objective, what factors influence the choice of the online platforms in the Zambian higher learning institution? One of the factors that is influencing the choice of these online platforms, one is the availability of software and hardware facilities. Some institutions want to choose a certain platform, say let's use this for teaching, but due to the lack of certain facilities, they have failed to go for something that will help the students. Then apart from that, the availability of also trained human resource is also another serious issue that needs to be addressed. And then apart from that, the other thing is we see that Moodle is being used. This is all because it has got a high level of customization. And then apart from that, the internet bandwidth also has influenced the choice of the online platforms. And we all know to say certain platforms require lower bandwidth. And that's the other reason why most of the institutions that are offering learning online have resorted to go for Google Classroom, because it's one of those that uses the low bandwidth. And then the cost of implementation is also one of those factors that have contributed on the choice of the platform to be used. And then apart from that, we also have unclear regulatory requirements from Higher Education Authority. This one has also contributed in the choice of the online platforms being used. And I wish to bring this to your attention. When it comes to education technology assessment, Higher Education Authority focuses on the hardware infrastructure and the availability of a student record management system. Unfortunately, higher education institutions and the self-regulatory authorities, that is Higher Education Authority, do not have a model for assessing learner management system away from other integrated systems. Then moving on to the strategies that would be ideal in improving the online teaching and learning process in distance learning. One of the strategies that can help, yes, we know to say technology is making the learning process, online, especially when we look at distance, more effective. but we need to make it a bit, let me say, more effective than the way it is right now. So to do that, we can use the same technology together with these approaches. That is, one, we can have technology-supported flipped classroom approach. With this one, it allows learners to learn outside the classroom using the same technologies, and then also to learn inside the classroom using the certain technologies. But the good part is that there will be maximum student engagement in the learning process. Other than what's happening whereby we enroll students in distance learning, and the only way we can communicate with them is just maybe, what can I say? It's like, for instance, let me give an example. I was a student here at the University of Zambia when I was doing my first degree. We would only come for residentials once. And then during that time, the only way that we have from our lecturers was just emails. Meaning there was no that interaction. But with this, if we can come up with work that is going to keep our students busy out there, and then that work is like to be preparing for the class that they will have with the lecturers, still online. So meaning there will be that interaction. And then apart from that, we need also to bring in the issue of blended learning approach. This is something that most of the universities have been talking about, but the question is, how are we implementing this? And then apart from blended learning approach, we can also use what we call scaffolding strategy. On this one, we need to look at the learning objectives. How have we presented the learning objectives on what we are teaching to our students? And then we need also to try by all means to break down complex topics, especially those that are teaching topics to do with the calculations, or let's say programs that are under natural sciences, programs that are under School of Engineering. It's very difficult for students to be taught in a way whereby we don't mind of their listening span. But it's better maybe we consider, if I was to teach this topic, even if it's online, how many minutes am I supposed to spend with the student? So we should try by all means to break the topics into units to help them understand something. And then as we look at scaffolding, it's also important that feedback is very important to a student. And then apart from that, we need also to bring in the issue of visual Ask Me Anything sessions. I've seen my professor is standing doing something has to be done. The visual Ask Me Anything sessions, this one can be done effective outside online classrooms. And then we can also implement the chunking strategy, as well as streamlining online courses material to align with the defined learning outcomes. And then apart from that, we can also try to combine asynchronous and synchronous approaches to teaching. I won't explain much on this due to time, but those who have got questions can still ask. And then as we use, just a point that I need to bring to attention, as we use asynchronous and synchronous approaches in teaching, there's need to involve the student in the planning and evaluation of the learning experiences. This is very important. And then educators also need to be willing to share the stage with the learners and invest time in the effort in learner involvement. And then there's also need to provide learners with practice opportunities and allow them to create connections between theory and practice, as well as make them understand the relevance and application of the subject matter.
Other approaches that you can use is the provision of learning management system that accommodates students and allow prior orientation to beginners. And then apart from that, you can also use what we call strengthening of human connections, and then you can also try by humanizing late policies. And then on late policies, we don't say we are using Google Classrooms at times where that's where some students.
The proposal to summarize.
That's where some students are supposed to submit their assignments. So on this one, I don't know how we can be helping students, because some students become frustrated because of the serious policies, or let me say, the way we handle them in terms of time when what is supposed to submit their assignments. And then the implication, then let me go to the recommendations. Based on the findings, I would recommend that teacher preparation programs need to focus more extensively on the development of skills for teaching with technology. And then I would also recommend higher education authority to come up with a proper model for assessing learner management system in order for online learning system to be up to a certain standard. I would also recommend higher learning institutions to consider the voices of the end user in order to improve the delivery of online learning. And then the higher learning institution also needs to make the e-learning platforms more user-friendly, and then invest in appropriate hardware and software, and consider retraining the e-learning platform users. And then platforms should be selected based on their abilities to support diverse pedagogical needs and integrate with existing systems.
Ladies and gentlemen, a hand for Dr. Zulu. If you go for an international conference, you barely get 5 minutes. So I speak the most important thing, isn't it? So that when you have a chance to speak, please those who are coming after us, go to the most important points. Huh? Let's deliver the meter. I can see at the meet towards the end. Yeah, and the Russian through because of time. Thank you so much. That was the core presentation. Thank you, Dr. Zulu. Let's invite our lady. She should have been the first presenter. Please, you have the opportunity to make your presentation in 10 minutes. Then we ask questions. The three of them, they will present, then we ask questions together, the three of them. Has technology malfunctioned? Is on.
Is the password right? So technology exposes you that you have borrowed a laptop.
Good afternoon. My name is Boniface Namangala. I'm coming from CHRESO University.
Yeah, you can tell us a bit more about yourself. Feel free to introduce yourself. Yeah.
Okay. My name is Boniface Namangala, coming from CHRESO University. I'm a product of distance learning from my bachelor's to my master's. I'm currently pursuing my PhD here at the University of Zambia. My presentation, the presentation I'm going to make is made by three people, that is Wilma, Andrew Makawele, and Patrick Mansa. So it's based on online training in science-based programs, in the case of nurse training in Zambia. So online education is rapidly growing, is a rapidly growing alternative to face-to-face for all audiences. It seeks to address issues regarding the geographical remoteness, limited space of institutions, and the complex lives of the students. Now, this online education is flexible and could be offered for any programs. But unfortunately, this mode of education in nursing we still have the challenge as it has not been embraced. In Zambia, apparently, we do not have any training institution offering nursing education purely online. What we see in most of these institutions is blended learning, and this one is just basically for the in-service students. So we are trying to find out what would be the reasons behind the slow uptake of online learning in nursing education or in nursing training. So for nursing training, I picked on the Bachelor of Nursing, specifically not registered. So the specific objectives here that we looked at were identify the ways in which the curriculum is transformed for online delivery. The second objective was to establish the challenges that were encountered during the transformation of this curriculum for online delivery. And the third one was trying to establish where there could be other effective strategies that could be employed specific for online training in nursing education. So, on the methodology, we use the descriptive design, and the information or the data was collected through the interviews from the nursing institutions as well as regulatory bodies, as well as also some documents were also reviewed. The findings regarding the transformation of traditional curriculum for online purposes indicated that institutions that offered degree programs were actually using the blended approach and not purely online. And this same curriculum they were using was similar or the same as the one that was being offered for the full-time students. Yes, and then this same mode was also applicable to in-service students, and these were the only ones that were considered for this mode. Then on the transformation of the curriculum for online delivery, it was discovered that most of the institutions only reviewed the curriculum, the part of the curriculum in order to transform it. And what they considered was mainly on the teaching plans. And there they allocated more time on the self-study without considering the other aspects of the curriculum. And in terms of delivering, they mainly delivered the lessons or the lesson content, mainly using the lecture notes as well as PowerPoints, which were given mainly for the full-time students as opposed to designing the learning materials for the online students. Then the other requirement, the other thing that was observed was that the redesigning of learning activities was only done by a few staff, and these staff, at least they had the exposure of the technology where they could be able to adapt the learning content to suit the learners that they had. Then on the challenges regarding the transformation of the traditional curriculum for online, it was discovered that the staff attitude was poor because most of the institutions were using the full-time students to teach even for the distance or online students. And this made it difficult for the lecturers to spare time to prepare enough for the students that were handling for online. Lack of dedicated infrastructure was also one of the things that was observed by the researchers, and it was discovered that most of the institutions did not have infrastructure that was adequate to cover for online delivery of nursing. And also the equipment was also lacking, for them to deliver effectively. Then among the other challenge that was seen was the lack of training and the difficulties in content adaptation for the lecturers or for the trainers, as most of them could not be able to adapt the teaching content to suit those learners that they needed to attend to through online mode. Then internet was also another challenge that was observed, as it also presented another serious challenge because of this reliability. Then on the strategies for enhancing online nursing education, it was realized that it's possible that we could have some collaborative learning through online platforms. Visual mentorship could also be done, interactive multimedia could also be done, and micro-learning could also be done in order to enhance learning for these students if it were to be provided. So in terms of the discussions of the findings, it was discovered that when we look at the transformation of the traditional curriculum, we realized that the first thing, if we are to offer any program for under online, we need to start with analyzing the learning activities, analyzing and identifying the learning activities that should be there. Once we know what we are supposed to deliver, it means it will be easy for us to design even the learning content, to adapt even the learning content to suit what we want to deliver. Then the well-prepared course will aid the learner to understand the purpose of the course as it defines the expectations that was according to law. In the study, only a few components of the curriculum were considered during the review of the curriculum, and that was the serious challenge that was observed. The designing of learning activities requires certain competencies in the trainers, and one of the fundamental principles of success in online teaching is the presence of the instructor, and the instructor who is competent, who knows what he's supposed to do. So once the trainer is not competent enough in whatever they're supposed to do, then it becomes a challenge for them to deliver what they're supposed to do. On the challenges to transform the traditional curriculum for online, it was seriously it was indicated that the technology infrastructure and inadequate training of the staff was paramount, and this was also brought up by who indicated that most of the institutions also did not have these infrastructures and also did not train the staff in these specific areas. The literature revealed also that the faculty members experienced poor technological skills, and they stated time as a constraint that hindered their attempts to gain the necessary training and preparation for new online approaches. In the conclusion, we discovered that online training is actually achievable, but we need to seriously plan for it and redesign the content that we have to suit the training needs of our learners. If we look at the developments in technology, we find that every day we are moving from one stage to another. But for nursing, we have continued, we've just relied on the traditional mode of training. I think that is my end.
A big hand to Madam Smarty. How to deliver a science-based program using ICT, virtual space is a big challenge. I think all of us will have a conversation reflection on that. How to deliver science-based, and also there was a question there, how do you teach mathematics online? So that's a big issue. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. Okay, let's have the last presenter, then we can ask questions to all the three at the same time. The power man himself is my boss, but I need to be very careful, otherwise I will be in trouble. Yeah, he's my boss in my school, so if I add 1 minute, you understand why, isn't it? If I start from 2 minutes, so you understand why. If you're the presenter, there's no harm. If you want someone to speak who is around, in case you want to clarify, there's no harm to do that.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All right, my name is Akabo. I'm the wallet Maniso. I'm not happy to place for something here. Yes, our presentation is based on the knowledge management framework. We are envisioning a knowledge management framework for improved performance in 2 or more universities in Zambia. And those names that you can see there are part of this study. So you agree with me that universities and many other research institutions, of course even other organizations, but mainly universities, we produce quite a lot of knowledge. A lot of information, we create a lot of, come up with a lot of information, create a lot of knowledge, especially in our research thesis, in all the research studies that we do, the lectures, and everything that we do. So, as the institutions of higher learning, this knowledge is very, very important for us, but it must also be important for the people out there. So this knowledge, like I've already said, it comes from administration of teaching, administration to teaching and research, where most of the staff possess a lot of wealth or valuable knowledge, which they have accumulated over time. And we've seen many times when you have someone retiring, and you start wondering to say, oh, now this person is going, who is going to do this? We even talk about people that we say that they have the institutional knowledge, and so on and so forth. So this is looking at coming up with a framework that should be able to manage this knowledge for easy accessibility by everyone. So the objective of the study is to develop a knowledge management framework that enhances performance in 2 or more universities in Zambia. So these are some of the specific objectives: to facilitate seamless knowledge sharing between online and on-campus faculties and students, to promote the creation and dissemination of knowledge to improve academic and operational efficiency, to leverage technology to bridge gaps between 2 or learning modes, and to also enhance collaboration and innovation through the knowledge management practices. So we looked at these models, the red 4 models. The methodology, we did a qualitative analysis. So I'll go straight to the findings. And from the findings, we came up with the various components of the knowledge management framework that we envision to be suitable and good for 2 or more kinds of studies. So in this knowledge management framework, we will look at knowledge creation and capture as the first and most important aspect. There is need to capture all the knowledge that is produced in universities or in our institutions. And we can do it through research collaboration platforms, so there is need to promote online platforms for faculty and students to collaborate on research, sharing findings, and also on publishing papers. Yesterday when I was in the other room, I heard the Prof here, Professor Gistered Muleya, who was talking about ChatGPT and so on. And this morning we said something also which really touched me to say we don't need to avoid these helpful tools that are there online. So there is need for collaboration between the students and the faculties. We also need to capture the systems that develop tools to record and store these lectures. Most of the time after the lecture is done, everything is forgotten. We go to the next lecture. So there is need to capture, to develop tools, to record and store lectures, making them accessible for both in-person and online students. Then we are also proposing innovation incubators to promote spaces that is virtual or physical. So that encourages innovation and the development of new teaching methods, technologies, and academic projects. The second component is knowledge storage and organization. Once we have captured all this knowledge, we need to find a better way of storing it and of organizing it first in various forms. Then we have to store this knowledge. So the digital libraries and repositories become very, very important here. And then there is need for taxonomy and data standards that must be established to ensure consistency in the tagging and the organizing of the knowledge assets so that they can be retrieved easily. The third one, component of the knowledge framework that we're proposing is knowledge sharing and dissemination. Creation of knowledge is one thing. Storing of knowledge is another. But knowledge is meant to be shared. That's the most important thing. And therefore, we need to come up. The framework proposes a knowledge framework sharing and dissemination component where we propose the proper implementation of user-friendly learning management systems, the platforms and support, and all those that support post-delivery discussion forums and resource sharing. The virtual communities of practice that encourage online forums and social media groups where faculty, students, and staff can share best practices, insights, and resources. We also encourage webinars and online workshops. The next component of the knowledge framework is the knowledge utilization and application. You agree with me that most of the knowledge that we produce is gathered in most of our offices, especially the research knowledge. The dissertations are keeping a lot of information. A few years back, I think one of the universities in this country went back to the dissertations from as far back as 1982 and so on. And they discovered to say, we have something that we could have transformed into a prototype that would have benefited. Even the University of Zambia carried out a IP audit recently, and we discovered that in some of these dissertations, there's a lot of knowledge that is there. If we captured it at the beginning, it would have benefited the society. So, the framework proposes a knowledge utilization and application so that we are able to utilize this knowledge to improve teaching methodologies and administration processes. Also, knowledge transfer programs where we encourage initiatives that facilitate the transfer of research and innovation from academia to industry and vice versa. The other component of the knowledge management framework is the knowledge evaluation. So there is need for constant feedback from the users of this knowledge. So this is very, very important to improve on that which we already have, and also to look ahead so that we are not left behind. So we also looked at the enablers for this framework. So the enablers, we need technology infrastructure. We need, as a country, as institutions, to ensure that our technology infrastructure is up to standard. We need to develop, we need to invest in technology infrastructure. Issues to do with cloud-based solutions, interoperability standards, security and privacy, these are very, very important. The other enabler is organizational culture. there is need for leadership commitment. And this leadership should not only be at university institutions, but at national level. We need that commitment. Incentive structures must also be in place. Training and development, we heard a lot about this in the morning. Victor talked about giving out those gadgets that the people that are supposed to help out are not doing it. So there is need to invest also in this. Then this is the implementation roadmap. For us to implement this, we start with this pilot project, selected departments before a full-scale rollout. We have to engage stakeholders. Thereafter, we need also to do some continuous training. And that's my conclusion.
Thank you so much. I couldn't say I was at speech on this one, as I assured you, I can't. But most of us think knowledge is not important in most institutions. We don't manage our knowledge. If you're looking for information, you can't find it. Even the departments that are supposed to have the knowledge, they don't have it. In our institutions, where I'm coming from, we don't pay attention to these aspects. So to be mindful of the conversation with the researchers, ladies and gentlemen, I invite Dr. Zulu back to the podium. Madam Samantha, please back to the podium so that people can have a conversation with us. Those who are writing questions, suggestions, please raise up your hand. You can ask any of the presenters if you have something pressing. Prof, you have something you wanted to?
Yes, maybe I can ask. Yes. You feel very old when your student becomes a professor. Yeah, mine is directed to Dr. Zulu. Your study. How do you rate your institution and get the findings? And what are you doing to improve your institution, the performance of the institution using your research results? Thank you.
I expect very brief, precise questions like my mentor, my professor, is to the point. When I'm bring the mic round, let's be to the point. So, Madam Zulu, take note of that question. Don't just do research. You have to improve your own. Yeah. The lady hand up there.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Monica from Boniface University. My question goes to Martin. Thank you for that presentation. I just wanted to find out, in your research, do you have any suggestions on how the skills part can be dealt with when you are using online teaching? And also, did you follow up if there are any regulatory frameworks which are guiding this education and ODE? Thank you.
Madam Spati, did you take notes or you are a genius? I thought you, because the questions are still coming, so please presenters, just take notes just in case. Yes. Oh, Professor Jemima, please, you can ask the question.
Thank you. On data management, I wanted to get to I didn't hear much about the ethics, the ethical question on the data management, especially once you are thrown into the cloud. I think one of the argument that you pointed out was the actual storage on the cloud. So I'm looking at the ethical issue. Here I'm trying to stretch it slightly further to look at the global north, global south issue in terms of data sharing, and particularly for scientific based data. For example, in terms of maybe samples. Since we have been discussing science at some point here, if we have issues to do with the sample, the laboratory-based samples, how do we manage that once we have perhaps these in terms of data management and the ethical issue that may arise?
So that's a professorial question. Hope you got it, huh? Did you get the professorial question? Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm still looking for more hands so that you respond at once. Those are issues, please.
Don't let your issue die. I can see a lady down there. Okay, if I come to you, let me just, another mentor I have here. Thank you both. My question goes to Dr. Zulu on the various platforms that are used to deliver the lessons. I tend to wonder sometimes whether when you have students and lecturers using one of those platforms are properly oriented, you find situations where a lecturer will change from one platform to another, and so on and so forth. And at the end, the lecturer would even say, can you find notes on the platform? But when the students tend to try and find those notes, they will tell you, we are going to this platform, and then that platform, and that platform, then there's nowhere where you can find this particular notes. Is there any proper orientation to both students and lecturers? Thank you.
Orientation. Again, I'll come to you, sir. I saw the hand there. I'm coming to you just now. Let me go to the lady who accused us. So before we accuse.
Mine, I think, is to all the presenters, especially the first one. What's the link between the higher institution and secondary, primary, online teaching? Because my experience is that you find that these good online teachings are there, but when they go to the grassroots there, they are not used. And there is actually a rule in schools, I don't know whether it's a policy, that we don't allow phones to the learners. There's that conflicting, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, between higher learning institution and lower, this conversation for ICT. Okay. Okay, I'm assuming this is the last hand. There is another hand up. I don't know if someone.
Mine goes to mine goes to Mr. Iswaniso. I should make mention, I've enjoyed your presentation on knowledge management framework. Very nice indeed. Now my question is knowledge retrieval embedded in storage and organization? Retrieval. Retrieval, okay.
Yeah. I'm still begging for one more last question before we go for lunch. This is, I'm begging, where's the question? Oh, okay.
Madam Wilma, I took interest in your presentation, and what I would want to hear, or maybe share, we can share something on how we can really navigate the space of offering or providing these science-based programs purely online. And as you were conducting your research, did you come across any university where they are offering these nascent programs purely online, not blended, but just online?
Very clear question. That's the question I had in mind, but that sounds very interesting. Okay, let me give our colleagues a chance to respond. I'll start with Mr. Iswaniso. Do you want to go first?
Okay, I'll start with the issue to do with ethics. I think it's law in this country that there is no research that should be conducted without eco clearance, eco approvals. You have to pass through the ethics first before you are able to collect your data. But in the knowledge framework that we have proposed, all the data must be able to pass through. It must be ethically approved for it to be able to be publicized. Otherwise, we risk to have a lot of questions later on as people start using the data. Then the issue to do with samples and science, the science samples?
The data sharing.
Data sharing, yes. Yes. So in the framework under the directors, we talked about security and privacy. In order for this framework to be properly operational, there is need for proper security and privacy. And each institution, like the University of Zambia, for example, our research policy, it describes, it talks about how the data can be shared. For example, you cannot just get the scientific samples and just send them away like that. There's a system that you must follow in order for you to be able to share the samples or the data with the other institutions. So in the framework, we are proposing that the security and the privacy must be so robust to be able to protect certain aspects so that we don't just lose data like that. Thank you.
What was the third question? Security, okay. He got me, he said something. Okay, so in the best of my knowledge is that now, above the investigation I'm not really sure whether we have to put some more services on the cloud platform. Currently, I think, but I think there is some planning to into that direction. I think there are something specific to provide that service. So the issue I think is still on the issue of security because I think the technology is not sure now. Your Google Gmail is in the cloud. And the rest of most of the systems that you want to access are already in the cloud. Those are progress infrastructure. That is progress infrastructure, especially when dealing with the big guys, Microsoft, Google, and the rest of the thing. No issue to worry. Of course, there are issues because they own the machines on the other side. And you're not there, so don't know whether they go in the background. Nothing can speak about Finland and the story, but that is beyond us. But from the professional point of view, I think it's okay. Facebook, TikTok, WhatsApp, all those are products and services that are in the cloud. Don't bother about security. So I think technologically that is okay. But there are other parameters that are beyond us that we can deal with. Thank you, Chair. Your expertise in the room, life becomes very easy, okay? When there are people who understand these issues. Okay, I will stay for now. I know you still want to say more.
There was a second question.
Oh, okay, sure. Yes, since you are co-presenters, but let's be brief the point.
I think the issue was the knowledge sharing and the regime per se. Basically, we've seen that there was a range of systems that we consider the knowledge management systems. And the repositories where we put different documents that we consider knowledge assets and so on. So we can actually add to say that apart from just the basic access through the usual querying of these databases where we store the records, we can also do specific what we call data mining to go into the archives and then see to what extent we can get what has not been easily accessed or what is not the usual in terms of accessing. So data mining can be also added to that aspect. But I think what the presentation was trying to bring to us is that it's high time we consider knowledge management for higher education because it has implications for academic administration, implications for teaching and learning, and of course in the management of our clients beyond learning students. I think that's the whole purpose of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Has he said it well? Okay. So let's go to Dr. Zulu. You may want to respond to the questions. I think of 2-3 questions as well.
I've got 3 questions.
Yeah.
I'll start with the question that came from
You may move close the mic.
the professor. How would you rate your institution based on my mind? The rate my institution as 85%.
That's very specific, eh? That's high scoring.
And then the other part is saying how have you implemented that? There's a lot that is happening there. Right now, we are working on a research on how we are going to implement blended learning. And then apart from that, the academic staffs, they are all undergoing a training. It started from January. Commonwealth is helping us in that. They are all online courses. And then apart from that, CPD has also been given, I would say, 100% attention. Then coming to the second question, whether studies are already...
So, Prof, wanted to know how your study resonates with the institution. The findings for study.
Yes, that's where the issue of blended learning now. It has been implemented, but now we are focused much now. Now we are going to run the same. Yes. And then with the other teaching strategies like the scaffolding, tagging, that's the training that my colleagues are going through. And then coming to whether students and lecturers are oriented on the same, I would say yes. Every first year students, before they go in class, they have to be oriented by our ICT rules that's out. Even us lecturers, we are especially the time when we had COVID, before we started using some of these platforms seriously, we had a workshop so that we can just get used and know how to go about the same. And then actually, all those platforms, we are dealing with students who are...
Yeah, you can just come to close your mic.
We are training students in ICTs. So they are much aware of those platforms. Most of those students are much aware of platforms. And then remember I said we should use a platform that is going to support the pedagogical issues that we are trying to address. So if I want to say Moodle is not going to work well for me, we will always resort for something that is going to work well for students. No, it's not like that.
So the question, when they transit into another platform, they might lose their clients, right? Okay. He is very concerned how do you transition between different platforms.
These students have been oriented on these platforms. The moment they just came into college, they have been oriented, and then especially in Moodle, we have got just a team of staff that orients the student on Moodle. Then when they come to class, lecturers will introduce even these other platforms to say, apart from Moodle, using this at an initial stage. So it will be easy for students to transit from Moodle to come to Google Class.
Looks like for their college, it's an IC college, there's a lot of heavy orientation. Maybe in different contexts it not work like that. Okay. Do you have another question you need to respond to?
Yes, the last one was talking about the link between college and secondary schools. This one is a very difficult question to answer, but from my experience as an educationalist, there's one thing that I've observed. The students that are coming from the ministry, the teachers who are coming for open distance learning, some of these students do not come for knowledge, but they come just to get a paper and graduate so that they can be upgraded. So there's need.
The person does those with the people with the people. Maybe people just come for papers, they don't just say serious application.
That's what they can see.
Yeah.
So there's need actually to cancel the students whenever they come into the program. Because it's not about getting a paper, it's about getting the knowledge that can transform the nation. So you find that most of our learners, they will get the papers once they go in secondary schools. If one was teaching business, and he will continue and especially the female folk. We really need to help.
Thank you so much, Madam Smarte. You know, with the Mr. Director IT coming, we need to start winding down. When the director enters, it's a ring with the one. So focus on your questions, you answer them, so that we start winding down.
I think about three questions. The first one was on the regulatory frameworks regarding nursing. So this study involved the regulatory bodies. So when the regulatory bodies were asked on how they viewed the transformation of, on how they viewed the offering of training in nursing online, they said, for them, they said there was no problem. All they needed was things to be put in place in the different institutions. For example, the technological infrastructure which was required for that. But what the main problem was on the institutions, because the institutions had not adapted the curriculum to suit those processes. Because once we break our curriculum into the smaller components, we adapt it to our learners. So when we break it into those components, then those components can still be integrated with the online technologies, which can easily be used to facilitate learning for those particular learners and other online delivery. I don't know if I've answered.
Yeah, sure. You can move to the next question. It will be a follow-up. We'll come back to you. Yeah.
Then on offering of clinical skills, in the same way, we have our guidance that we have nowadays with the online, with the coming of this technology. We've seen a lot of video recording, a lot of the simulations that are going on. If these are recorded the way it is happening now, we are recording some of the videos in the classroom as well as doing clinical practicals in our schools, then we share them. This has happened during the COVID. We are training our students using those modules. So we can still do that, and then after doing that, we still send our students into various clinics so that we have a hands-on experience. So the training can be happening online, and then they'll go and do the practices in the clinics. That's the way our study was looking at it.
Yeah, but she wanted to know if there is, from your search of literature, you have a lesson in a lane where nursing has been delivered online.
In Turkey?
And what recommendation? She was curious to know exactly how it's done. As a learning experience, we share experiences here. People may want to do it when they go to their space.
Yes, learning, but in terms of those, like the same videos and a lot of.
You can move closer to the mic. Sorry.
And I was saying from the analysis and the breaking of the same content, the lessons were broken into smaller components, and then devise certain technologies which will be able to transmit that information with clear instructions on each and every step the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, the quality issues coming, right? Yes. Quality issues and effectiveness. But at least we can learn from that. Through something to learn, we can just have a conversation there. I know lunch is not yet here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't think I'm keeping you here for lunch. The lunch is not the way. Do you have something that has come to mind from this conversation? Something that has crossed your mind? Okay. As we wait for lunch, we can have 1 to 2 more questions.
Probably it's just a suggestion I propose from the answers that you have been given. It looks like there are no regulatory frameworks which are guiding body in nursing. Because the regulatory bodies are supposed to provide frameworks on how institutions should make arrangements to teach the nurses online. So if it is not coming out that they have any guidelines which institutions can follow, meaning that there is a gap here, students can be going there to practice before they can be, before they are exposed to the real environment. So those are my proposals and maybe a recommendation if we don't have a framework which can guide the institutions on how to go about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would love to hear from the presenters about the regulated framework. I want you to make a comment. If I'm not asking for too much, if I'm asking for too much, I can withdraw my question. Or anyone who has to answer in the audience.
If you are going to, you are regulating, you want to find out whether technologies are working for online teaching for lessons, and you have a regulatory body which is staff or members of staff that don't know anything about that. How do they regulate? You know what they get my point? Yes. You get people to regulate. How do they regulate what they don't know?
So Prof is saying, if you have people who don't know anything, and they're the regulators, then how would they? And technology, for instance. Yeah. Please, these are questions not just for presenters, for everyone who has answers in answer for us. No, yeah, sure. Keynote presenter for yesterday.
Thank you so much. I'm just contributing to add on. It's true actually, even we have some proposals to bring nursing as an online program. But when we approached the regulatory bodies, they said that they restricted because there is a difference between theoretical part and the practical part. So theory, yes, we are fine to go with the teaching and learning via online. But practical, strictly, there is no option. So we are also waiting for the guidelines and the policies from the regulatory bodies. So still, nursing is not possible to go purely online. Yeah, thank you.
So this is part of the answer, but there's no harm to give your thoughts. Please feel free if you want to give the thoughts. Mr. Sponsor can also, in case. Yeah. Ladies, you want to respond to anything or from what has been said? It's fine? Okay. Okay, then I think we have come to the end of my session. Just to thank all the participants for the energy. The director, there was energy in this room. It's just hunger we're seeing. What we're seeing right now, hunger is cropping. Before we came, there was a lot of energy. From my panel here, these are our power panels. From Professor B, all my colleagues have done a wonderful job with their presentation. Let's clap for ourselves, let's clap for ourselves. I know Dr. Mony has abandoned us. I don't know why. In fact, he was one of our presenters. Yeah. I hand over to Dr. Namangala to give us further guidance. Thank you so much. Clap for me as well.
Thank you so much, Prof. That was quite a session. And we've learned, we've shared, we've been left in doubt, so many questions, answers, yet we are still digesting. There's so many things we've discussed. So at this point, we'll break off for lunch. When I went out, I was told lunch was on the way. I'm hoping we could have our lunch soonest, then we can come back for the rest of the afternoon. And what would the time be? Maybe we can break. I don't know. It would be difficult to attach time to our coming back. Maybe, Mom, is our lunch anyway? They're on their way. We're supposed to. Maybe we say we come back at 15 because we're already. It's almost 14. 15 hours? We'll work with 15 for now. Yeah. So we break off for the afternoon session.